Good morning. Welcome to Speaking of Animals. I'm Amy Carotenuto from Flagler Humane Society. And today we're going to call it Pause and Planning. We're going to talk about protecting what matters most, our four-legged friends, right? Today's topic is one that a lot of people overlook until it's too late. So what happens to your pets if you pass away or become incapacitated? So joining us today, she was on the show a long time ago, and we're bringing her back by popular demand, right?
Woohoo!
Courtney Kilbourne-Hayes. Courtney is a local estate planning attorney. Her firm focuses on real estate, corporate law, estate and legacy planning, including how to care for pets through legally enforceable trusts. Courtney, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Amy. So happy to be back. It's great to be here, and I love that we're talking about pets. They're our family too.
For sure, they definitely are. Um, I have I have six dogs, and then a lot of feral cats in my yard. So I've always wondered, so if something happens to me and my husband, what happens to all my animals? We need to make sure that our pets are protected.
Absolutely, and that's a great question, and I do get that a lot too. Being an animal lover and an attorney, that's one of the top questions that comes up. So we're here thinking most people don't realize legally pets are considered personal property. So if you pass away without a plan in place, your pets are treated like, unfortunately, a car or a piece of furniture. And that means they can end up in the wrong hands or worse, in a kill shelter, right? So we need to take a couple steps, and that's what proper planning is for not just humans, but also pets.
And that's where we come to you, right? So so what's the best way for people to make sure that their pets are going to be taken care of when they're gone?
Yes, the best way would have a pet trust. So it's a legally binding document that allows you get to designate a caregiver for your pet. You also allocate funds for their food, vet care, grooming, toys. Maybe they have diabetes or special needs, and then you appoint a trustee to manage that money and make sure it's being used for them appropriately. Which, unlike a will, which only kicks in after probate, which could take months or years, a pet trust goes into effect immediately, and if you're incapacitated or pass away, so it goes either way, then it's enforceable in all 50 states.
So it's like you say, that's much a pet trust is what really has to happen. So leaving instructions in your will really isn't good enough. Leaving instructions with family members may not even be good enough. Like a pet trust really is the safe way to do things. And
Exactly.
you do these things, right?
I do pet trusts. I do wills also,
Mm-hmm.
usually when I'm helping a client in their estate planning process with or without animals. We try to take those steps necessary to avoid probate. Now, when they have an animal, whether it's a cat, dog, bunny, horse, parrot, some of those live much longer
Mm-hmm.
than others, and some of them are more expensive than others. We do need to take extra steps. And if you have that traditional will, then it does take time to go through probate. Maybe your loved one heir doesn't have a key to your house. They can't get to the animal. If they don't get in the house for 6 months, it's not likely you're going to have your animal still alive by then.
Mm-hmm.
So, with a pet trust, it's enforceable. There's a fiduciary duty for that trustee to follow your instructions. It's much safer, it's more reliable than just a statement in a will, hoping that somebody follows through in a safe amount of time.
Mm-hmm. I know we work closely with our sheriff's department. Of course, we provide animal control services, so we get calls a lot where people have either been taken to the hospital or passed on, and so the animals come to the shelter with us, and we take good care of them, we love them, but it's not the same. And if people can have arrangements made ahead of time, think of how much easier that is on your pet. And sometimes we have to wait to try to find next of kin, and it just
If they have a chip and it's
yes,
scannable or it has
yes,
updated information on it, can you
yes,
find the person? Yeah,
exactly. So the pet trust does seem to be the fail-safe to get the animal immediately, from your care to whoever you have assigned to take care of your pet. And then so how detailed can pet trusts be? It's
just like any other trust that we
uh-huh.
have for humans, the pet trust can be as detailed as you want or as simple as you want. So, for example, I've created a trust with just 2 cats, and then I've created a trust for a client who we do an annual review of it. It's for 8 cats. So this one has been in existence for at least 5, 6 years now, I believe. There's been a couple cats that have passed away. There's certain ones that have different personalities, different health needs. So we keep an eye on it. She keeps a running list of the dietary needs or vet care. Very, very consistent, very caring client, of course, because like we said in the beginning, you know, some of us are pets. Most of us, our pets are our family.
For sure.
So we want to take care of them like that. And, you know, they don't usually argue back with us. So
I know one thing I heard you mention before about with a pet trust is you have more than one person. You assign your person who's going to take care of your pet, and then you also I forget what the title is of the other person.
Caregiver and a trustee.
The trustee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's checks and balances. So we have that in other aspects for human estate planning too. This one is so that you can have the caregiver and trustee be the same person if you want. However, it depends how much you're going to fund that trust with too. So if you're going to leave an extensive, large amount of money and you want to make sure that that caregiver is taking care of of the pet, then that trustee would step in and say, okay, show me the vet records, show me that they're a healthy, alive pet. They should have a picture of the pet. They should know what's going on, and they'll give that stipend of money monthly, annually, whatever you set out within those trust terms.
I think that's very smart to think of that, and like as the attorney, you have to think that way, because as a regular person, like we all think, oh, my friend would never do anything shady, but there was a story about somebody that just kept getting animals that looked like the other pets so that the money could keep going.
Yes, I believe it was a Netflix documentary during COVID time, and it was about a German shepherd, and I don't recall the name anymore, but yes, we talked about it at that luncheon or breakfast, and yes, there was a caregiver that was spending exorbitant amounts of money and then kept getting new German shepherds to replace that one, so they could continue to get those millions of dollars.
That's so shady. Like, you hate to think that people would do that, but it's smart to have that checks and balances, no matter how much you trust who you're creating this trust with. You know, why...
The only positive is all of those German shepherds definitely had a really good, fun life. But no, I think the purpose of the original owner went down the drain when there was no trustee for checks and balance on that caregiver.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
It is.
And you do other types of estate planning too. I think pet trusts is kind of your niche, isn't it? Because it's not something that I hear about with a lot of different attorneys. So I think that's your...
Yes,
since you're such an animal person, right?
I am a big animal person, animal advocate. It breaks my heart seeing some of these petitions that come over daily for nationwide animal abuse. And, you know, we've got some local hard hitters too, whether it's in the sheriff's office or local individuals who like animal advocacy and making sure that these rescues or any animals don't fall into the wrong hands. But yes, I do like pet trusts because of my love for animals and my love for the law. I do estate planning, I do real estate work, and I also do corporate law. So those are my favorite areas of practice here. I had some fun with some construction litigation too, but my true passion definitely is with the estate planning and corporate work.
And I'm glad that pet trusts are your thing. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Speaking of Animals. I have to also introduce our other guest today. Besides the beautiful Courtney Kilbourne, we have to introduce Mocha, who is, she's wagging her tail just by being introduced here. Mocha is an older dog, and I thought she would be a good guest today because she kind of fits into what we're talking about. Mocha's owner passed away There were other family members, but they had a lot of other issues on their plate. It was just too much for them to take care of Mocha. And she has some issues too. She's an older dog. She's what's the phrase? You're in good shape for the shape you're in, or something. Like, she's a little bit of a hot mess, but she wags her tail like crazy. She seems very happy. She's in her golden years for sure. But Mocha's up for adoption at the shelter, and again, it's a sad story, and it, not that her own, like I said, her owner left her with family, but there wasn't a trust. So I don't know if there'd been a trust, if this would have been different for Mocha. But
And she's in her age range. She's going to be part of the least adoptable, right? Because she's older. She's an older rescue. So again, that's another reason to have things in place. And if you do some planning in advance, you also want to talk to those potential agents, the potential caregiver, the potential trustee, and make sure they're okay with getting an animal just in case, just like you would as a guardian for a minor child of yours, in estate planning. And you should talk to them about that. But yes, Mocha got lucky that she's in good hands right now. And hopefully there's a loving family, because she is adorable.
Yeah.
And she has such a sweet, calm temperament.
Yeah. She's so quiet. Like, she's just...
You never know she's in here.
No.
If there wasn't a camera pointed at her.
Yes. She's a very good girl. When we were talking about trusts a few minutes ago, you mentioned money. So how much should somebody put in for the care of their pets, average? I'm sure it depends on their budget, but
the famous lawyer answer, it depends. Yes. So yes, but that's a great question, and it depends on their type of pet. It depends on their life expectancy and their care needs. So like I was saying, an animal that's diabetes versus an animal who's of perfect health, that's going to be different prices. But generally, when we're talking dogs and cats, probably between $5,000 and $15,000 is typical. If you've got senior pets, special needs, some of those diseases, or aging diseases, or if they're exotic, like a reptile, or long living, like a horse or bird, the number can go up much higher than that. But, there's also that little thing too. We call it a remainder amount. If there's any leftover money when the pet passes, it can go to a family member. It can go to a charity, nonprofit. It can go to a rescue organization. You can decide. So even if you put a larger amount of money than is necessary for that care of that animal for their lifetime, that remainder can go somewhere else to do more good still, even after you're gone, even after your pet is gone.
That makes sense. So also too, when you're planning your estate, do people have like backup caregivers in case something happens to the caregiver before?
Yes. And we say that in all of estate planning too, is a backup to a backup. It's always great to have backups. And you should, because life happens. People move, people get sick, there's life changes. And what we were just talking about before, make sure you have a discussion with that caregiver or trustee. Maybe they went when they first agreed to be a caregiver. They had one child, and now they have 3 kids under 3. Life changes, events happen, or maybe they've moved states. So yes, always check in and have backups to backups, because again, you want to make sure that the best interest of your animal is still at the main point of the trust.
And then we mentioned before, there's the trustee and the caregiver. So the trustee can check in on the caregiver, because what if life changes midway through all that too? Like,
that's a great point. That's a very good point.
Complicated.
Yes, you just made up some more scenarios of real world right there. And yes, of course. So you want to have some instructions for that trustee, periodic home visits, vet record checks, some photos that we talked about before too. Even though, yes, like that famous documentary example where they interchange the pets, maybe there's a distinguishable spot on the ear or the nose,
or microchip, if
or
they're microchipped. Yeah.
And they can get that checked out too. Just make sure that it's the proper animal getting that money and care for it. So That trustee is almost going to be like a financial manager or compliance officer, and making sure that caregiver is giving that daily love, daily care, and necessary annual care.
Mm-hmm. So do you see people that get pet trusts? Is it mostly like wealthy people that can really afford to, leave tons, or is it just regular people too that are doing what they can to make sure their pets are taken care of?
That's another great question. And some of our big examples of how to do it right and how to do wrong come from those millionaires or multimillionaires.
How to do it wrong. Yeah.
But the majority of it is just us regular individuals, regular families who just probably spend a lot more on animals than we do on ourselves because we love them and we care about them. So the average family is the one that's getting the pet trust. And sometimes it's easy to get a $10,000 life insurance policy for a couple bucks a month just to leave it to your pet trust, or up that amount up some and you can leave it to your kids too.
Yeah,
And
as
some
an afterthought to the kids too.
Why not? But yeah, so just the average family is the typical one, because you can have something from a modest investment for the peace of mind to a large amount, and then have that remainderment going to family or to a charity.
Okay. All right. Well, all very good information. So we're going to take one more quick break, and we will be right back with Mocha, Courtney, and Amy. And we're back to speaking of animals with Amy, Mocha, and Courtney. So, Courtney, we've been talking about estate planning. So, what is step one for people?
Step one, of course, talk to an estate planning attorney who understands pet trusts. We'll walk you through the process from choosing a caregiver or potential caregiver to calculating the cost, drafting the legal documents. And sometimes you want to see if you've got current estate plan that works. You integrate it into the current existing estate plan or trust, or if we need a whole new plan of action. You definitely want to talk to potential caregivers in advance. We've highlighted that a couple times here. You want to make sure that they're okay with it. You could trust them, you could love them, but maybe the stage of life they're at, maybe there'll be a backup. So get a couple backups in line, you get your list. And even if you have absolutely no idea what you're going to do, go back to that step one, talk to an estate planning attorney who's got experience with pet trusts, and create a plan together.
I like that. And I know you and another estate planning attorney, Vince Lyon, you're both tied to Flagler Humane Society a bit. You used to be on our board of directors, and Vince is on our board of directors now. And you guys are generous enough to give a 10% discount for estate planning services if the people name Flagler Humane Society as one of their beneficiaries, right?
You know what, they can just tell us they've worked with you, they've donated, they have rescued from you listening to the show, and I would be happy to honor that 10% discount.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks for doing that.
Of course.
Thank you for speaking at our donor appreciation breakfast. It was great to have you, and it's been really good to have you on the show. I think Mocha has enjoyed her time on the show also.
She's adorable.
I know. She's really adorable. Nice girl. She's a little bit of an old, quiet old lady.
I love the old pups. I mean, the excitement of the young puppy is fantastic too. But I love an old pup who'll just curl up next to you, watch a movie till you fall asleep.
Yeah, she just
especially on rainy days like today.
Yes, yeah, she just appreciates life. So, well, anyway, thank you, Mocha, for being on the show. Thank you, Courtney, and thank you everybody for listening. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, everyone.